goodness. Well, it's been a month. It's been a month. Today, I'm talking about the resonance of love, and I wrote this talk the week before the storm. Interestingly enough, I was supposed to be giving this talk on September the 30th, the Sunday after we had our experience with Helene. And I told Reverend Darlene, she asked me to speak today while she was out, and I said, I would like to talk about the resonance of love. I feel very called to do that. And she said, absolutely. And I went back and I looked at my talk, and while it was a good talk, it felt shallow. And I had to really sit with it because, and I think this might resonate with you, I'm not the same person that wrote this talk, right? I'm a very different person today. I am much stronger than I thought I was. I'm much more resilient. I can lug gallons of water. I had no idea I could do that. Throw them up in the back of my car and go take a shower. I would never have thought that I would be doing that in my life. Still doing that. I cry a little bit easier. Anybody relate? I need a little bit more sleep at night. Like by 9:30, I'm out. I'm out. And I'm normally a night person more. I stay up a little bit later, not 9:30. But I need more sleep. So the person that was before this, Helene, that wrote this talk, has evolved and grown spiritually, as we all have together. We've all grown spiritually together. We all have more compassion. We all have more the ability, guiltitude, that's the word that I'm thinking of. We have guiltitude in that I didn't lose my home, but I knew people that did. And I'm grateful that I have my home. And I feel bad for those who don't. I feel bad for the people that were up on the hill behind me. It was a low-income elderly community. They didn't have water or power for 2 weeks. So that guiltitude has run through. So as I'm speaking today, I'm speaking from the new Meagen and not the old Meagen, even though there are still tenets of this talk that represent both, because we are both. Let's put our memory to good use and go all the way back to the first Sunday in September. It feels like 5 years ago at this point. But that was the Sunday Reverend Darlene said, we're going to talk about God as presence and principle. Do you remember this talk? She asked us to ponder the question, how do we experience the divine in our daily lives? My guess is you probably experience the divine a lot more now than you did that first Sunday in September. You've gotten a lot more hugs. Right? You've gotten meals from strangers. Last night, we still had barbecue from the World Kitchen. It was really good barbecue. The second week, she talked about the law of correspondence, and that was not about writing your pen pal, for those of you who remember that. The law of correspondence was asking us, what do we have on the inside, and how is that manifesting on the outside? What is my inner world, and how is it presenting itself in my outer world? The third week, Reverend Beth talked about the only inevitable law. Does anyone know what that is? Change. Change is the only constant. Boy, was that not speaking some truth back then. Little did we know. That was the last talk we had before the storm. Some things changed. And then I was supposed to end the whole month with the law of vibration and resonance. So I'm now ending the month of October with the law of vibration and resonance. So let's get into it. What does that mean? What is the law? These are scientific laws that scientists used when they postulate the universe, when they, hypothesize things. And the law of vibration basically just says everything is in motion and vibrates at a certain frequency. Everything is in motion. That large boulder that you may see on the side of the mountain when you're driving down I-40 or I-26, that is in motion. We know that. It is moving because the atoms are vibrating at a certain frequency. It's very dense, but it is vibrating at a frequency, right? But also, the beautiful music that was played just a few minutes ago also carried a vibrance. It had vibration to it. So vibration can be something that's extremely solid and stable, and can be something that is fluid and transitory. Everything has a vibration. The law of resonance then takes that one step further. And the law of resonance says, like attracts like, but brings it to a higher level of awareness and a higher feel good. I wrote specifically, it highlights what happens when similar vibrations interact. Let me give you an example. Everybody knows what a tuning fork is. If I were to take that tuning fork and tap it on my leg, it would start vibrating. And if there was another tuning fork in this room somewhere, it would also vibrate, because like attracts like sees like understands like. And that is what the law of resonance says, is that when we are coming into the same sphere of someone who is resonating like ourselves, we know that. Why do you think we come here? We come here because we're like, oh, I'm vibrating at this level, and all these people vibrate at the same level. Let's go there. That's what we do every single Sunday, and all the other events that we get together for. We vibrate, and it feels good to vibrate. So you may be thinking at this point, this sounds a lot like the law of attraction. Any law of attraction people who, yeah, right. And it is the law of attraction. But the law of resonance is actually, according to science, is the bigger law. And the law of attraction falls underneath the law of resonance. The law of attraction is been around for a long time. Anybody seen that movie, The Secret? Right? Yeah. Can you believe that was 2006, just for reference? That was a long time ago, 18 years ago. And that's when I was really into the law of attraction. I had affirmations. I was doing all the work. The law of attraction was it, right? I mean, there were so many books written about it. We still talk about the law of attraction today. The law of attraction is basically, for those of you who don't know, it's putting what we want out into the universe and attracting it back to us. We are saying our prayers, we are doing our vision boards, we are putting affirmations on our bathroom mirrors, whatever it might take to get that job, or to pull in the love of our life, or to pull in more peace or prosperity, whatever it might be. That's what we're trying to do with the law of attraction. The law of attraction brings similar energies into proximity. The law of resonance is like attracts like and amplifies it to make it more deeply transformative. The law of attraction says the universe doesn't give you what you want. The law of resonance says the universe doesn't give you what you want, it gives you what you are. So why did we work so hard with the law of attraction? How many people worked and then didn't see it manifest? Because we weren't doing our inner work. That's what the law of resonance says. If we are resonating at a vibration of love, we are going to attract more love. I want to give you an example. When I was in my early 30s, I was steeped in New Thought. I was going to a New Thought church in Chicago, and I was studying to be what they called a prayer practitioner. We call prayer chaplain, very similar. And that was in the Center for Spiritual Living. And the practitioners, we were required to work with people so that we could get, to be certified, you had to work with people so that you could get them to write a letter to say that you deserve to be a practitioner, essentially. And so I was working hard with people. And there was this one guy I remember, and I will never forget him. His name was Art. We will call him Art. And he wanted to attract the love of his life. Art was what you would consider to be the perfect package. He was like 6'3". He was really well built, very attractive man, had a really great job, made a lot of money, had this condo on the lakefront. I mean, he was like, I'm like, why are you not, like, what's going on here? So we worked together every single week. He would come and find me, and we would pray together every single week. And after about, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 months, I remember thinking, what am I doing wrong? Me as the prayer practitioner, not Art. I wasn't thinking about him, because that's what you do when you're really young. You think, well, I can pull in the love of his life. That's not going to be a problem. I'm a good prayer. I can pray this and manifest, and we're going to do law of attraction, and none of it worked. None of it worked. And as I look back through the lens of time, 25 years later, I can see that Art didn't love himself. He did not resonate at love. Let me just say that he was addicted to the gym, right? He was always at the gym trying to make himself look good. I remember he would talk about how he would do things that I thought, that's interesting, but it wasn't in alignment with how he felt on the inside. He was trying to present this package. And so many of us do that. When we're doing law of attraction stuff, we don't stop and we don't say, how am I resonating at love? And that's what the law of resonance is talking about. Where are we resonating? How are we resonating? The other side of the coin with the law of resonance is that if you are in resonating anger, guess what you're going to get? If you are resonating self-loathing, you're going to attract that. We have to be aware. We talk about consciousness in unity. We talk a lot about Christ consciousness. How can we raise our consciousness? That is where the law of resonance comes into form, is when we resonate at a certain level, we raise our consciousness. And love, I would say, is the most important. In Mark 12, 30 and 31, Jesus himself says, love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind and with all your strength. The second most thing to love is love your neighbor as yourself. There is no greater commandment than these. If you remember last week, Reverend Darlene said that exact thing. We are to love our neighbor as ourselves. How do we love ourselves? And that's hard. Some of us were never taught to love ourselves. Some of us were never given love or given very conditional love when we grew up. So it's now our responsibility to love ourselves. Any Michael Beckwith fans? For those of you who don't know, and you should get to know, Michael Beckwith is a New Thought minister that is based out of Los Angeles, California. Agape, yes. He started Agape, that's the name of his spiritual community, back in the mid-1980s on a hope and a dream. And now he has basically a mega church in Los Angeles. And he was in the movie The Secret, if you remember, and Oprah Winfrey called him a spiritual maverick. So he's kind of a cool guy. He says about the law of resonance, when we resonate at a higher frequency or a higher consciousness, we become influential. It's not necessarily about what we are attracting, it's about what we are helping to change through our vibration. When you walk into a room and you are vibrating at love, you can't help but change the energy in the room. On the other side of the coin, if you walk into that same room and you are full of anger, you can't help but change the room. We become influential. He says, we influence the world through our service to something greater than ourselves. He's talking about being in alignment with the divine. And when we start to become of service just by simply resonating, we change the planet. That's why we're doing the 7 p.m. peace prayer every single night, for those of you who are still joining us. And right now, we have less than 2 weeks before something big is about to happen. So I would say if you can pray every night at 7 o'clock for peace, please join us. All the prayer chaplains are doing it every night. Just peace. Peace. We need peace in this country. Michael Beckwith says that the law of attraction was about getting, and the law of resonance is about being. When we attract, we make it happen. But when we resonate, and I love this, when we resonate, we welcome it. And as I look back on my 30-year-old self, I think, golly, girl, you did a lot of work, and you didn't have to. I could have taken a nap. In the 1990s, going back a little bit, there was a song that was very popular on the radio by a gentleman by the name of Snoop Dogg. And this line that he wrote always stuck with me. And as I got into New Thought, it really made sense to me. And he said, I got my mind on my money and my money on my mind, right? And now he is very wealthy. There's something to that statement. And I would say, you can say that, or you can say, I've got my mind on love and love on my mind. I've got my mind on peace and peace on my mind. How can you Snoop Dogg it today? You got to make it fun, right? So at this point, you're probably saying, okay, all right, so we're talking about love, we're talking about resonance, I got it. Now, what am I supposed to do, Reverend Meagen? How am I supposed to make this happen in my life? Let me tell you. I'm going to give you 3 ways to help you raise your vibration today, and we're actually going to do one of them here in just a moment. But first, let me tell you about the Heart Math Institute. Are there any Heart Math fans out there? Yeah. So they are an organization based out of California that studies the heart, and they theorize, which I think there's definitely some truth to this, that the heart is the most important organ in the body. We in Western world are all about the mind, right? In fact, when I was part of the Center for Spiritual Living, all healing came from the mind. And not to speak bad about that, because I do believe there is major truth to that, but I always thought it left something out. And that's the heart. I've come to realize for myself, it's the heart. In our world, we love to think and analyze. That's just the way that we are. We're on our phones, we ask questions. I think I've shared a story before that I got kicked out of Bible class when I was in like 3rd grade because I kept asking questions and they made me sit in the hall. Because I wanted to know. I just want to know. Like, well, why? And in fact, when I've studied with the shamans in the mountains of Peru, they always say, oh, Meagen, you and your North American, just don't think here, think here. And I always was, well, what does that mean? Well, it means there is actually brain matter in our heart. And our heart connects more to our brain than our brain does our heart. It's constantly sending information because it's taking in the world around us. And science and modern technology is actually proving this. Get ready to be blown away. When you think, right? When you think up here and you put out affirmations and you do all these things and you're working to manifest, modern technology can measure the brainwave an inch from the skull. An inch. Modern technology can measure the energy that is produced from the heart up to 3 feet. There's something to it. We are not using our heart enough. And when I'm in private practice, I'm a psychotherapist outside of here, and I work a lot with my people, and we do something called mindfulness-based practices. Mindfulness-based practice is based off of Zen Buddhism or Buddhism, which is about being aware. So right now, if I practice mindfulness, and I would encourage you to do this with me, feel the chair underneath you supporting you. Feel your feet on the floor. Feel your breath enter your body. One of the things that I always tell people when we're practicing this is put your hand over your heart. Just be aware of how your body feels right now. Are you a little anxious because you're on a pulpit talking to a lot of people? Are you calm and relaxed? Be aware of your body. Robert, could you play that? So that's one way. Practice mindfulness. And if you want a good book to read, read anything by Eckhart Tolle. We are now listening to the second way for you to bring up your resonance and your vibration. And this is music that is at 582 hertz. This particular vibration, some of you may be aware of this, and you can find it on YouTube for free, don't worry. Type in 582 hertz. It helps to reduce stress in the endocrine and central nervous systems. So as I talk, I want you to just allow the music to move through you and see how you feel. This type of music is called solfeggio frequency. And forgive my American tongue, I'm probably saying that wrong. Solfeggio, I like to say it though. It produces more positive effects on the body than other sounds or tones. This comes from a gentleman by the name of Herbert Koenig, who studied the Schumann resonance. And for those of you who don't know, the Schumann resonance is the vibration of the Earth's, from the Earth's crust up to the ionosphere and back. And there is energy and vibration that is sent up from the Earth and bounces back. And it is called the heartbeat of the Earth. And when we're in nature and we're out in the middle of a forest or in a beautiful field and we are touching the earth with our bare feet, we are in harmony with the Schumann resonance. But many of us don't get that very much. We live in cities. We live in busy places. We might live in a condo on the 3rd floor. We don't have the opportunity to put our feet on the floor or on the ground on our beautiful Mother Earth, or as they call her, Pachamama, which just feels good to me. That's from the Andes in South America. So an alternative is to listen to 582 hertz. There are others as well, but this is one. And this just brings about a sense of peace so that you can resonate at that love. And I'm just going to let you listen to it for a moment. Maybe place your hand over your heart. As we continue to listen to this, a third good way to bring about a higher vibration is still affirmations, 100%. We still need the power of the brain to work in tandem with the heart. I have a couple of affirmations that I will say, and I've been researching affirmations. If you start your affirmation out with gratitude, it takes a deeper hold. I am grateful for the love I resonate. I am grateful for the prosperity I resonate. I am grateful for the peace I resonate. you feeling calm? Peaceful? Don't fall asleep on me. Thank you, Robert. Beth. So those are just a few ways to be able to pull up and vibrate at that higher frequency. And I can tell you, we need it so much right now. When we left Asheville, we had to go, my husband and I and our 2 boys, we still didn't have water, and we went to a hotel. We checked into a FEMA hotel, and I could tell you a story about that, but I'm not going to. But it was an interesting experience. But we came back home, and life had gone on as normal. And the first place we could find was Greensboro, and life was normal in Greensboro. And then we came back, and we were coming up over I-40 into Black Mountain, and we came down that hill. I'm sure you all know what I'm talking about. And I felt my breath. And I looked at my spouse, Michael, and I said, "Did you feel that?" And he said, "Yeah, I did." I said, "I don't have a word for it." And he said, "Despair." It was despair. That was just about a week after. I want to end my talk today because we have to work beyond the despair. We have to feel it, and we have to move through it and not deny it. That is extremely important, but we also don't want to get stuck there. Last week, for those of you who are here, our very own beloved Elder Sharon Oxendine did an Indigenous grief ceremony last Sunday. There were 50, maybe 60 people that showed up. That was one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. And I'm a counselor, and I deal with grief all the time, but I don't deal with it with 50 people all at the same time. And each person came up into the circle. We held a container, and each person sat in the middle, and they shared their grief. And a ceremony that was supposed to last 2 hours lasted almost 4. And we sat in that grief for 4 hours. And Sharon held that container the entire time. People wailed. People told stories that lived in Swannanoa that, oh, wow. And there was Sharon, holding it all, vibrating at the frequency where people felt safe and felt heard and felt seen. And I wish that for all of you. And the best way to start is to vibrate at love, so that when you need that love, that someplace to witness your pain, you will attract someone who's vibrating just like yourself, and they can hold it for you. And you can hold theirs, and we can heal together. It's going to be hard, but we can do it. We can do it. Let's take this within.
In this moment, in this place, I remember who I am. Letting fear and worry fall away from me. I open my eyes and I see there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love.
as we bring ourselves to this awareness of love, this vibration, raising our frequency, we can feel all of it. Allow ourselves to feel the sadness. Allow ourselves to feel the hope, the compassion, and yes, joy. All of those emotions are there for us. Let us feel each one and not deny it just because it does not feel good. Let us allow ourselves to just vibrate in a way that helps us to heal, in a way that helps others to heal. Because when we do that collectively, we can truly change the world. So we thank you, God. We thank you. Let us walk knowing that you are with us always. Let us speak knowing that we utter prayers with every word we say. Let us think positively so that we can change our minds. And let us feel with our heart, feel the fullness of life. And we thank you. And so it is. Amen.
There is all, sing with me, Leela. There is only love, love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love. Let's say it a few times. There is only love. There is only